Hey, welcome everyone. I guess we uh, give it a few minutes before we start the full introduction. Or should I start, Bernardo?
I think you can start.
Okay. So it's great to have you all with us virtually, unfortunately, but thankfully we're already all together in this long-awaited event. It's been long awaited by our department, our community, and a lot around the world, as we've been hearing. So the event is entitled Palestinian Academia Research and Education Under Israeli Occupation. And it's an event that was put together as a collaboration between the Physics Student Society at the American University of Beirut, about which I would like to say a few words, in collaboration with the Scientists for Palestine. Also, I'd like to put a bit of description on both of these collaborators. So our Physics Student Society is, as the name suggests, is a group of students in the physics department who've come together around activities, normally science, social issues and whatnot. But when this genocide started unfolding, they went through phases, and I could report, they went through phases of being totally inspired, excited about what's happening, and definitely gaining a lot of, awakening moment in their consciousness, if I may say. But they also went through another phase of, despair and anger, uh, which is the era that the time that followed, where they saw that there's nothing going on in the world that can change what's going uh, in the occupied territory in the West Bank and in Gaza, unfortunately. But they're also at this stage, they come to realize that there's something that they can do. And I think this is the moment where they uh, somehow went past their despair and started to celebrate and reach out to people and contribute to knowledge about what's going on in Palestine in general by talking about science. It's who they are and what they're going to be doing, and that's where they can contribute to Palestine. So for that, I should give them a tribute, and I hope more to come in terms of collaboration with Palestinians and in the occupied territory in Gaza and beyond. And the other collaborator who put this event together is Scientists for Palestine, which is an international organization which was created by and for scientists to support science in the occupied Palestinian territories and to integrate Palestine itself into the international scientific community. So these are the organizing entity for this event. Uh, And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speakers for today, Dr. Mustafa Jarrar and Dr. Amal Nazzal. The way we're going to go about this today is around 50 minutes of them talking. We'll start with Professor Jarrar and then move to Professor Nazzal's talk. And then we'll have around 20 minutes of questions. And you'll all have the opportunity to ask questions. Please write them in the chat and I'll read them when the time is due. So now I'll start with the introduction of Professor Mustafa Jarrar, whom I have the pleasure to actually be moderating this session, this talk. So Professor Jarrar is a full professor of computer science and the director of the PhD program and the director of the SINA Lab for Computational Linguistics and Artificial Intelligence at the Birzeit University. He was a Fulbright visiting professor at the University of Buffalo in the US in 2016 and 2017, a Marie Curie Fellow at the University of Cyprus 2007 and 2009, and a senior research scientist at the Free University of Brussels in 1999 to 2007, where he completed his master's in 2000 and PhD early 2005. Professor Jarrar has won several prestigious awards, including the Schumann Arab Research Award in Technology, Mohammed bin Rashid Award in Arabic Language, and Google Faculty Research Award. He's published over 100 articles in the areas of natural language processing, ontology engineering, semantic web, and graph databases. Professor Jarrar has also chaired 30 international conferences, BC member of 150 more journals and conferences, a coordinator and manager of 25 large EU projects, a full member of IFIP 2.6 on database semantics and IFIP 2.12 on web semantics, and UNESCO Technology Center Board of Governors, among others. Professor Jarrar is also the founder of both SINA Institute for Knowledge Engineering and Language Technologies and the Palestinian E-Government Academy, and advisor of Ministry of Telecom and IT, where he also developed and chaired the Palestinian E-Government Interoperability Framework. So without further ado, please help me welcome Professor Jarrar, and the floor is yours, Professor Jarrar. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this introduction, Sarah. So I will share my screen. Okay, so thank you again for the this introduction and for this invitation to talk about the challenges facing the Palestinian academia under the Israeli occupation. This is an honor to be here, and it's also an honor to speak in front of also very well-known people and very respectful, and also who are friends of Palestine. So actually, before telling you our sad stories, because our stories are really sad, we are under genocide, not only under occupation. But before, before telling you these sad stories about occupation and the challenges we face, I will start the other way around. I will first show you some positive stories. So, because, as an academic person, we have to be innovative in the way we handle things. So I will show you how I established a successful research lab without money, without resources. I will just change my share screen into... maybe I just can... okay, I assume you see. So I have established a research group called SINA Institute. You see my screen, right? Or not yet?
Yes.
Okay. So I established a research institute called SINA Lab for computational linguistics and artificial intelligence. And I'm happy that nowadays, and our research area is actually one of the most active research areas in computer science, at least. So I want to make sure that you see my desktop, right?
Yes, we see the SINA Lab webpage.
Okay. So I established this and computational linguistics, and after ChatGPT and artificial intelligence nowadays are so like the hot area. So I have a group of maybe about 15 or 20 people, PhD students. They are very smart, very active, working day and night to do good publications, high quality. And we managed to do many things. I will not go into details, I will just simplify it, but we get many awards, prestigious awards. We also, even including, by the way, also some awards from Google, and we have been covered by Al Jazeera, by Al Arabiya, by many international satellites. We do, by the way, just to tell you, we do the Arabic language, how computer can understand the language. So it's about semantics. So how, for example, the word bank, which is bank is a financial institution, and bank is the side of a river. So if you use it in a context, we build very smart state-of-the-art systems on understanding which meaning. This is called word disambiguation, for example. And we are the state of the art, basically. We also do something called named entity recognition, where we can, you can try later, you can try demo to try it. So we do things are in a very smart way. So this is called named entity recognition, where we can recognize names of entities in text. We are the state of the art for Arabic named entity recognition. We are also the state of the art in extracting synonyms. We are the state of the art of building something called the Arabic word net or the Arabic ontology, and so on. So we developed really. I'm really happy to say that we did many of the advanced technologies for Arabic at Birzeit University. Recently, we start changing our topics. We start changing our research area. So I am not anymore doing pure computational linguistics. I want to do something called social computing. Why? Because after October 7, we see something, we see a lot of bias in the media, so we want to tackle these kind of problems. We are tackling, for example, hate speech or offensive language detection in Hebrew, not in Arabic, in Hebrew, and you can understand why. We are also working on to face what's called AI bias in like large language models and so on. So we are focusing on these things. So my story is I established this lab. I have no funding or very, very limited, very, very little. Everything around me is actually discouraging. And my team is so active without even salaries, without anything. It's passion. It's hard work. It's also, there is a challenge because of the political situation. So this is I would say my good side of the story. I assume you see also my slide now. Okay. Okay, so now let me move to tell you what are some of the challenges we face in doing research in under occupation. So one of the major challenges we face, and you can imagine its impact, is that we are unable to hire external professors or external students because Israelis, they don't issue long-term visas, which restricts our ability to bring experts and even to collaborate with international academics. We have no resources, as I told you. So this is another challenge and you can imagine also its implication. Like, we are not a country, we are just a local authority, have no money, have nothing, and we have almost no or very limited financial resources or funding, and thus we have also no access to academic or books and journals. So sometimes we need articles, we cannot buy them because we have no money to buy them. We have no access to digital libraries. When we travel to conferences, we get very little amount and we spend the rest from our pockets and so on. So we have restrictions to movements. This is maybe a even more clear challenge is that all Palestinian academia, I mean, including schools, students, also it's not only about research and academics. So everyone is facing mobility restrictions. So staff and students cannot make it on time. They are often delayed by checkpoints. And you can imagine if you are giving a lecture or exam, maybe, and many of the students, they don't show up. Or they come late, and you have to solve it. So this disturbs our educational schedules and so on. So it's very hard to manage. So the checkpoints, and you see in this map, so, this is maybe So going just to give you a sense of how big or how small this West Bank. So from here, Ramallah maybe to Jenin it's just 70 kilometers. So it's a very small area at the end. But moving between cities is so difficult, almost impossible to move between cities. We have many kinds of checkpoints, something called permanent checkpoints, temporal checkpoints, occasional checkpoints, and so on. So we have many kind of checkpoints, and students cannot travel between cities, or even from, I mean, like we have at Birzeit, we have villages or towns around Birzeit. They sometimes cannot come. So this is disturbing the whole academic sector. Traveling to outside the country is also very challenging and complex. So we have to travel to Jordan or to Egypt to fly from there. And the border most of the time is closed or very crowded, or we have like 2 hours per day. It's open just 2 hours or 3 hours per day sometimes, and so on. And you can imagine also the impact on the time you spend when you travel, and the extra cost that we have to, for example, we have to spend 1 or 2 nights while going, and 1 or 2 nights while coming back through in Jordan. So it also makes it difficult for people to cooperate with us sometimes. Another challenge we face is the academic freedom. So academic freedom for Palestinian academia is a big issue because of Israeli restrictions, and some academics have ended up in a jail for speaking out, as you know. Even talking on social media is very sensitive and critical. On top of that, which is really annoying, is some Palestinians face bias, really very painful. Like stories we have is that when we send to journals, especially in humanities, when we send articles to journals, typically we are rejected because of our political stance. So this is limiting our freedom. Another challenge again is the brain drain. This is one of the maybe the most impactful problems we have, is that academic brain drain in Palestine is a very serious issue. Unfortunately, the insecurity, the political situation, and the restrictions like drive skilled academics to leave the country. And this currently is a very serious issue in Gaza, very serious issue in Gaza. And you can imagine how the academic sector would be without professors and established academics. The situation in Gaza is even not like the situation in West Bank. So the situation in West Bank, I was talking about serious threats and challenges. But here, we are talking about real idiocy, total idiocy. Intentionally destroying all universities and killing academics and students. So this is a very old statistics, because nobody is doing now statistics. But as we know, for example, 95 professors are killed. 17 of them are full professors, by the way. 3 university presidents are also killed. This tells you something, even as you see here, teachers and students, we have 7,000 students are injured and 5,000 are killed. The education, so the 17 universities are totally destroyed. 80% of the schools are destroyed, and so on. So almost 500,000 of almost all students now without access to education. So this is real idiocy. So this is not compared with West Bank. So what I was talking is just threats and challenges, but here is something I think humanity never experienced this. So okay. So I'm sure now maybe each of you might be thinking how to help. So I have some ideas for you to help academia. Of course, the priority goes to not only Gaza, but also Jerusalem, because Jerusalem is also under threat all the time, more than giving help to Birzeit or to Jenin or to Hebron or to... So please help Gaza and Jerusalem first. In many ways, such as, for example, we need help with advocacy and awareness, facing discrimination and bias. So we need resources. Please share your resources with us. Please share your funding with us in whatever ways. If you can help us subscribe in open access publications, or sharing even some library access of some of your library access, we really need it, because when we need an article, we have to start calling friends and so on. So if you can help, please do. Joint research projects. So I am sure even if small projects, and if you can bring somebody, students, professors from Gaza or from Jerusalem, if you have cash, you can send cash. If you can send it personally, or your institution, please do to students and to universities. If you want to help us also, please invite one of the Palestinian professors to be co-supervisor with some of the PhD students, because this is, a way to mentor and to help academics, especially in Gaza. One of the issues, one of the way to help brain drain in Gaza is to support professors there in whatever means. Please promote us to promote our researchers to... Maybe you are organizing a conference, please bring somebody from Palestine. If you are an editor in a journal, please bring in somebody from Palestine. If you have scholarships, research visits, teaching assistants, teaching visits, whatever. So please do. We need this help. Little help means a lot. And by the way, our message is to stay here. We will stay in this land. So we need your help to stay in this land. Of course, recognition is good. So sending support letters is also its help. And I will end my talk with saying also, supporting and cooperating with Palestinians is good, because they are really passionate and really smart and hard workers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mustafa. Definitely all the support, not only with hearts, and that's the reason why we're having this conversation. I think we need to know ways of supporting science under the occupation. And I think this event will help us develop ways. So just a reminder before I introduce our second speaker, those of you who have questions, please write them down in the chats so that we bring them up to the discussion in the Q&A session. So it's again my pleasure to introduce our second speaker for this evening's event, Dr. Amal Nazzal. Dr. Nazzal is an assistant professor at the Faculty of Business and Economics at Birzeit University. Her research interests include organizational mechanisms and dynamics in sociocultural organizations, intersectionality theory, feminist organizing, social capital, social network theory, which is very close to my heart, by the way, Amal, and new social media and organization. She's also interested in new research methods such as digital ethnography and social media content analysis. She's an advisory board member at the Institute of Women's Studies, IWS, the BDS movement and the Right to Education campaign in Birzeit University. Her research has been published in journals such as the Journal of Business Research, Human Relation, and written opinion pieces in Al-Shabaka, Matras Institute for Palestine Studies, the Palestinian Digital Rights Organization, Hamle, Middle East Monitor, Mondoways, and Alexander von Humboldt Institute for Internet and Society. So without any further ado, Amal, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Is my voice clear enough for everyone?
Yes.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and thank you, Professor Mustafa, for your talk. It's a pleasure, actually, to have this connection with AUB and Birzeit University, and to host two lecturers, academics from Birzeit. So thank you so much. And before I start anything, I just want to send my and our deepest and strongest salute to Gaza, to our people in Gaza, to all the people who have and still been killed, to our men, women, children. Salute to their resistance and salute to their steadfastness. What's happening in Gaza is horrific, as everyone knows. And hopefully one day, and definitely one day, this will end. So salam لغزة ولكل أهالينا في غزة. So, and as you can see from my first slide, our professor and doctor, Rifat Al-Arair, he's a poet, he's a writer, he's an academic, he's a professor who have been killed in Gaza on the 6th of December 2023, when he said, if I die, let it bring hope. I hope that we are bringing hope while we are still alive as Palestinian academics, as sarcastic as it might sound or sad as it might sound, but we are the ones who are still alive as Palestinians, academics and lecturers and educators who have and should continue conveying this message of our history as Palestinians, of what the Israeli occupation and colonization have done to our history, culture, and land and academia in general. So the talk is about telling our own stories as Palestinian educators, academics in Palestine. And when I was thinking about my own story, I was thinking and articulating and theorizing my thoughts around this triangular. I do believe that there are three important, and let me tell you, this is something that I'm thinking about what does it mean to be a Palestinian academic in Palestine? What does it mean to research in Palestine? What does it mean to produce a Palestinian paper? What does it mean to speak about our indigenous Palestinian narrative? So I was thinking about these three, I do assume, important pillars and perspectives about how we can look at Palestinian academia, also from a historic point of view. Because I do believe if we can't reflect back in time historically what happened to the higher education in Palestine, to the Palestinian academic in Palestine, there's no way to better understand and to dig deeper and understand what's happening at the moment in Palestine. And what I mean in Palestine, I mean historic Palestine. As Dr. Mustafa said, the circumstances in the West Bank and what's happening in the West Bank is totally different of the genocide, the ongoing genocide that's happening in Gaza at the moment, and even what's happening in occupied territories in 1948. For example, the arrest of the Professor Nadira Shalhoub, a Palestinian in Hebrew University of Jerusalem. So the geopolitical fragmentation of Palestine is also playing different role in understanding how Palestinian academia dynamics are happening and playing in different shapes and modes. So first of all, I want to introduce a terminology that I was also myself introduced to just like months ago, when I was thinking about what literature provides us when an educational knowledge system is completely, continuously threatened, destroyed, marginalized, and silenced. Dr. Mustafa mentioned the word educide, and this is a terminology that has been spread all over the internet and social media about the education and genocide, so educide and what's happening in Gaza. But I want to speak more about epistemicide. So the first pillar and the first most important element of what's happening to the Palestinian knowledge and the Palestinian production knowledge in large is epistemicide. And epistemicide, so this is the first point. So epistemicide is a systematic destruction of an indigenous knowledge system. It's a systematic destruction and killing, devaluation, silencing of a knowledge system which has to do with indigenous production of knowledge, thoughts, and philosophy. So epistemicide has to do with the linkage of between epistemology and genocide. So Palestine actually has been experiencing Israeli epistemicide since the British Mandate. I will be sharing with you an article published by the Institute of Palestine Studies about the Israeli epistemicide going back through time since the British Mandate, when Zionist Israeli when the British Mandate enlarged and British Mandate officials support Zionist Israeli higher education institutions to revive and to be established. For example, the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, which was established in 1925, is a great evidence and a good example of what's happening back in time in comparison to many obstacles and threats of the establishment of Palestinian higher education institutions or even universities back in time. Epistemicide, which is again, a systematic, targeted killing, silencing, devaluation, killing of personas as well, intellectuals as well, of indigenous people, just like to destroy the system of producing indigenous knowledge, has been studied in Latin America, the epistemicide of African literature and indigenous knowledge, the epistemicide of Indian as well knowledge back in time in history, and it's a thought and it's a perspective to better analyze how the power of colonizers and settlers are dominating spaces in different spaces and aspects and structural system to dominate the narrative, to produce the hegemonic colonizing narrative, to produce the dominant knowledge of the colonizer and to silence and to marginalize the indigenous, resisting, grounded, rooted, counter-hegemonic and heterogeneous as well narrative of the indigenous people in a way to colonize them through, knowledge and the narrative all in all. This also will produce what we call epistemic privileges for the colonizer and the settlers, and epistemic injustice for the colonized people. So my first point, that if we want to understand what happened to the Palestinian academia, if we want to understand what's happening to the Palestinian academics, we have to go back and understand what has been happening and still happening to the Palestinian academia, Palestinian higher education institutions, because epistemicide of the Palestinian knowledge has been there. The Nakba as well, the catastrophe in 1948, where around 800,000 Palestinians have been forcibly displaced from their homelands to be refugees all over the world in a very disadvantaged circumstances. This period of time give nothing to the Palestinians to develop their higher education system, give no space, give no time or energy for Palestinians to revive, develop, or work on their educational infrastructure or research linkages as well. So speaking about what happened to the production of Palestinian knowledge has to do with understanding of the catastrophes that Palestinians have been facing since ever. Also after the Nakba, I don't know, can you see my slides? Yeah, can you Very important thing as well is the assassination, the multiple assassinations of Palestinian intellectuals back in the 70s, 80s, and in the 90s. This is also epistemicide, which is not only happening in Gaza at the moment. In the genocide, as Dr. Mustafa said, around 100 academics, teachers, professors, Palestinian professors have been targetedly even killed. Their intellectual dreams, projects, research, affiliations, all of that have just like vanished. This as well happened back in time through the Israeli Mossad to many Palestinian intellectuals, and they have been assassinated in different places all over the world. For example, Ghassan Kanafani. Ghassan Kanafani is a Palestinian writer and poet, very well known. He was born in Akka in Palestine, and he was assassinated in Beirut in 1972. Dr. Mahmoud al-Hamshari, he was killed in Paris in 1972 as well. He's from Turkalem in the West Bank. Dr. Bassel al-Kibaisi, although he's Iraqi Arab, but he was in full support of the Palestinian Revolution back in time in the 70s. He was a professor. I was surprised. He was a professor in law in AUB, in the American University in Beirut, and he was killed in Paris in 1973. So all of these are pure, clear evidence of epistemicide, of Israeli epistemicide, of killing intellectuals, Palestinian intellectuals. And why so? As I said, is the destruction of any counter-hegemonic resisting narrative of clearly stating the Israeli colonization, the Nakba, the displacement of the Palestinians, also the imprisonment of many Palestinian educators in the Israeli jails. There's a lot of engineers, professors in physics, in chemistry, social science, humanities, who are until now imprisoned in the Israeli jails. For example, Walid Daqqa. Walid Daqqa is a Palestinian writer, an intellectual mind, Palestinian mind as well, who was killed in the Israeli jail because he didn't get any medical care and support, although he was suffering from cancer. So I just want to give this idea that yes, what's happening in the killing of our own Palestinian professors and intellectuals in Gaza is horrific, but it has its own roots, right? It has its own roots of the systematic, very targeted Israeli epistemicide, Israeli willingness to kill the educational system in Palestine, to destroy the educational system of Palestine by killing intellectuals and by destroying or not giving any chance for Palestinian higher education institutions to revive and develop as others in comparison. What I want to say as well, epistemicide is also practiced as a site differently in historic Palestine. So as I mentioned, and Dr. Mustafa mentioned, educide were all, I wouldn't repeat, and this is just the photo of the Islamic University in Gaza, just like a couple of seconds before it's completely destroyed on the ground. So it is clear what's happening to the Palestinian Academia and the Palestinian University in Gaza, its intellectuals and professors as well. And this is also a list of all of our dearest professors and educators and teachers who we have lost. And when I think about them, as Dr. Rifat Al-Arair said, we are not numbers. These are not just like list of numbers. It's not like 5,000 or 7,000. Each and every number is a story. Each and every one, of these educators and professors has her or his own. We're in academia, research projects, intellectual projects, research, affiliations, dreams, something big to say, but we lost all of them. And I will go back to my triangle when I started with epistemicide, and I think thinking of Palestinian production of knowledge and what's happening to the Palestinian academia from this perspective is very important and could lay the ground to better understand the current obstacles that we are facing as Palestinians, because Dr. Mustafa, for example, at the end of his presentation, he was mentioning the affiliations with other universities, the fund issue, and many, let me call it, tactical kind of issues that has a lot of reasons linked to the Israeli colonization and to the Israeli epistemicide of the Palestinian educational system. So the methods of doing epistemicide in Palestine is militarization. It's Israeli militarization. In the literature of epistemicide could be practiced in different shapes, maybe non-violent shapes like marginalizing, silencing, and whatsoever. I'm speaking about different contexts, but in Palestine, in Gaza and in the West Bank, it's militarization. So I spoke about Gaza in the West Bank where we are based, both me and Dr. Mustafa in Birzeit University, and there are other Palestinian universities, of course, Beit Lahem University, Polytechnic, Hebron University, and other, not only Birzeit University, but maybe we're speaking about Birzeit because we are based at Birzeit University. So Israeli epistemicide in the West Bank is practiced through militarization. So we're speaking here about students and academics arrests, the mobility restrictions, and the university raid. There's a very, very important campaign and movement at Birzeit, which I'm inviting everyone to visit. I will be sharing also the link of this campaign, is the Right to Education. And because I'm a member of the Right to Education campaign and movement, I will be telling you some statistics. So at Birzeit University, there's around, until now, 120 arrests. So 120 students who have been arrested by the Israeli occupation forces. So this is one of the photos of the demonstration of our students inside the campus. So our students, for example, will start their 8 o'clock class, and then they will go to this demonstration to support a friend to walk in a march in their campus, and then go back to their other lecture. So this is how education inside the campus. And in some situation, this wasn't only a protest or demonstration to support, for example, one of their colleagues who might be a woman as well, like Ruba, who was arrested a couple of days ago. It might be also a funeral because one of their colleagues and friend have been killed. Because in Birzeit University, 33 students have been killed by the Israeli occupation forces, 33. And there's a very, very well recognized, so these are one of the photos of our students, you know, supporting their colleagues and friends who have been arrested from the university, from the campus itself, or from the street, or from their home. Some of these students, they are women as well. So lately, Layan Nasser and Layan Kayed, two of our students who have been also arrested by the Israeli jails. It's not only Layan Kayed and Layan Nasser, also other students. And let me tell you, since I mean, being arrested by the Israeli occupation forces and just like experience Israeli jails is horrific. But since the 7th of October, I think a lot of you is aware of the horrific situation that Palestinian political prisoners are experiencing. And from a feminist perspective, there's a lot of harassment against women, political prisoners. So we know nothing about them at the moment. They are our students, and we know nothing about them, about their circumstances, what they have been experiencing. And they are just, you know, university students who are supposed to live their higher education experience in much better ways. The university also have experienced long time of closure. So this is only a table, which is also on the Right to Education campaign website, where you can see, I assume the numbers are a little bit small, but where you can see the time periods of the closure of the university. So the longest was in 1988, where the university, Birzeit University, was closed for around 1,571 days, like complete closure back in time. The university also has been raided multiple times at night and arresting students, destroying offices of the students, the student council, sabotaging, destroying computers, stealing laptops. The university, Birzeit University, has been raided more than 20 times since 2002. Since only 2002, the university has been raided to 20 times. So I will go back also to my reflective kind of triangle, which I'm thinking about. I'm thinking of my story as Amal inside the epistemicide of the Palestinian knowledge and why we cannot convey our own narratives as Palestinians. We're trying our best, and yes, we're succeeding, definitely, as Dr. Mustafa said, on different occasions, but the situation in Hall is very, very, very much difficult. And then I spoke how this is conducted through militarization, arrests, imprisonment, closure of the university, killing of the students as well. Another important thing, I assume, which I want to reflect on as well, is what I call the institutionalization of higher education in Palestine. So after Oslo in 1993 and the promise of the state building and the institutionalization and what we call it the NGOization of a lot of civil society organization, grassroots movements, feminist movements, labor movement in Palestine, including education. Higher education has been professionalized. Higher education in Palestine has been largely also tied by foreign aid to determine what are the priorities in Palestinian academia now, how we can speak about Palestinian feminist issues now, how we have to speak about how business and economics are happening and playing different roles in Palestine now. And this is a big issue. Even the budgeting of education in large, so the total spending of education is around $1 billion. And 80% of the $1 million goes to wages. So there's barely nothing, statistics speaking about 5% of the education budget just goes to development, which is barely nothing. So what I want to say in this slide, or in this final idea after the epistemicide of the Palestinian knowledge through Israeli colonization and the Israeli occupation through militarization, the Palestinian Accord of Oslo in 1993 has largely disadvantaged the Palestinian higher education, and we can go through a couple of questions to explore this further. But the thing that the priorities of knowledge production have been shifted from our need to produce our counter-hegemonic resisting narratives, engaged scholarship with our politics, with our culture and social and very much needed issues in Palestine. So what we need to produce as people under occupation, as oppressed people, and experiencing genocide in Gaza, and experiencing occupation in the West Bank, and violation, racism in what's so-called Israel, is a production of of resisting knowledge, of knowledge that could liberate our people, and a knowledge that could give the methods and tools for liberation through education and other phases as well. I don't know if I'm running out of time, but my final kind of slides, and this is also a question for all the audience in large, what we can do, not only as Palestinians, what we can do as people, as educators, as lecturers, as professors, as people who do believe of the historic colonization of Palestine, of what happened to Palestine, not even back in time, of the injustice happening in Palestine, of the right for Palestinians for self-determination, of the right for Palestinians for liberation. What can we do to stop this continuous, non-stop, by the way, Israeli epistemicide against Palestinian knowledge system? I think the answers could be multiple, could be as technical as Dr. Mustafa mentioned, regarding the research collaboration, hosting Palestinian students and scholars and whatsoever. But I think we also have to better understand what's happening also in Palestine from this perspective. It's not an external factor that we are just facing and that's it. It's not the Israeli occupation that we are facing, that's it. Or just like some restrictions in the mobility. It's just like there, it's nested and embedded in each and every detail while we are living and experiencing our lives as academics. I'm also very privileged and happy to tell you more about an initiative that the Palestinian universities in the West Bank started, which is إعادة الأمل, Rebuilding Hope. This initiative has to do with building as much as we can linkages with students, sadly said, alive students who are still alive, to help them finish some courses, some modules that they haven't finished, help them graduate if we can. It's still an initiative. We collected many statistics about Gazan students. And now we are in the phase of, spreading among others who can deliver this course and who can deliver this course. I'm pretty sure that a collaboration on this level is much needed to convey and help Gazan students to finish some modules in medicine, chemistry, physics, to help this students. It has this one pillar, and has also a pillar of transformative research and how we can coordinate more with the higher education in Gaza. So I think this is my own story, delved in these three main pillars. I'm really happy to hear also any comments or clarification of what I provided, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amal. You both made it very well on time, and I mean, we have a lot of respect to all the courage and the sense of resilience and resistance that you sent to us from the occupied territories. And I mean, our deepest, thoughts and, feelings go to the Gazans. I mean, one cannot put words to what's going on and to the genocide that's unraveling. In the meantime, we've asked people to write in questions in the chats. There were people who put in a lot of comments. Don't worry, Amal, I'll be reading some of them. You don't have to go through the readings of the questions. There were a lot of comments in support, expressing the willingness to collaborate and to, maybe so many topics, let's say physics and general relativity, computational work. So there are so many message totally in support for science in Palestine in general. There were questions particularly, maybe we can start with very particular questions that have direct implications. If I may start from one of the last questions is coming from Ali Lizé, asking if there are specific fields of research that you consider more urgent to rebuild that have been more damaged. So from your perspective, can you comment on that? Both Professor Jarrar and
Yeah, go ahead.
Amal, you want to go, please?
No, I think we're still we're still in the middle of the genocide. It hasn't stopped, to collect some statistics or data or to analyze what have been damaged more than the other, but it's just like a blindless destruction of everything. I mean, when a whole university has been bombarded completely just like destroyed on the ground, I mean, all the specifications, all the faculties, all the different fields of studies have been totally destroyed. I don't have a direct or concrete kind of answer, but I think we're still in the middle of the genocide where we are still not sure where we want to maybe start. I don't know, Dr. Mustafa, if you have a question regarding this, an answer, sorry.
Actually, maybe we cannot say there are some topics that are damaged, but in my opinion, we have to revisit our research priorities. So if you are doing research, I mean, like in our case, we are doing research on something we really changed. So doing research, for example, at least in computer science, on issues related to ethics, on detection of bias automatically, on detection of hate speech, not in Arabic. We don't care about it internally. We need in English and in Hebrew. So these are examples. In media, so there are maybe in media, there are also research and activities are needed. So in each of you guys, within your area, nobody is claiming that we should change totally into another field, another discipline. But we can just revisit our research priorities because what happened is very serious. Thank you.
Thank you both. I also guess there was this concern coming from Mustafa on access to, let's say, journals and scientific publications and whatnot. And I think, I mean, countries that have been sanctioned or embargoed have gone through this before. And I'm not divulging a secret, but there's these shadow libraries that exist out on the web, which change the way we do science in places that are totally, sanctioned. I can probably pull out a couple statements about these shadow libraries, and not to advertise them, but just to say that there are people who have gone through this in history, probably started off with rewriting prints that was kind of restricted at some time in the Soviet Union. And this kind of culture grew into these huge shadow libraries. So you can read on the genesis of library genesis, which pretty much has been studied from a social network perspective, in the way information has been changed and diffused across scholars where it had not been possible before. So people in the chat have been also mentioning JSTOR access. People had just put in the link for library genesis. I'm just conveying what's been studied even in our field, the coming to life of this library genesis as a huge shadow library with nearly unlimited access to all science production and literature production. So I think this has changed the community, and I don't know how much people at Birzeit or universities in Palestine are also subject to constraints, even accessing such shadow libraries. I don't know if you can even access these alternative, when I know there have been a lot of legal issues around them. So I don't know, what's your take on that?
Yeah, we use this Science Hub. I think it's a Russian website, but it's all most of the time is not really
I'm
working.
not asking if you're using, not to put you at
We
legal,
use them. It's well,
I
by
mean,
the
not
way,
to
it's not
put
only
you
in
on.
Palestine. It's they are well known everywhere. So, but most of the time
Yeah.
they are not working.
Yeah.
So this is not.
Sorry, what is the question, Sarah?
So, I mean, these shadow libraries and the way they change knowledge propagation across scholars, because if you have restriction to buy or to access journals that are paid, you know, these alternative that are called shadow libraries are there to kind of break these boundaries of, you know, science and knowledge flow. And they've been studied even from physics as, you know, their effect on social changes across the communities in academia. So, I mean, I think this is part of going totally anti-institutional, but it has been developed for, I mean, resistance and, you know, right to access knowledge for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right to access and right to education for everyone. I do believe that our role as academics to give the access, open access for everyone to read and access in Palestine, outside Palestine. I mean, there's a lot of people who are disadvantaged who can't as well access these publications. So yeah, this is the way we use it in a way or another. You know, it's becoming well known.
There's a very important question to Professor Jarrar concerning AI. So what precautionary measures Palestinian activists can take against the AI-based Google tracking system, if you can elaborate?
I didn't really hear the question, so can you repeat?
I'll repeat it. So it's a question on precautionary measures that Palestinians activists can take against AI-based Google tracking system or whatever AI is used in this warfare. And we've learned about Lavender, we've learned about Where's Daddy. So, I mean, there's plenty of these AI tools that are used in the genocide, not to use the war.
Yeah, we are being killed really by AI. So just to give you a sense of what is AI when we say AI. So our mobiles are spying, and there is a censorship. I mean, Israelis, they don't hide this, by the way. So this is no secrets here. So everything on social media is censored, in WhatsApp, in all media, even without social media, we are censored through our mobile phones. It's all sending data, then prediction is taking on. So, you know, spying is in two ways. Either you spy, you listen to somebody, or you predict that somebody will do something. So the prediction system, before October 7, so of course all security agencies have prediction systems. But when then something is predicted, a human will go and investigate. Okay. And after October 7, there's no human investigation. Whatever AI is saying, with very high error rate, all of the guys who are suspected are killed. Not only them, but no, they bomb the whole building. Whether this is going to kill hundreds or one, they don't care. Maybe even they do it on purpose. So there is no human in the loop. It's all AI. No human in the loop. So there are, you know, all countries have weapons with error rates. So they try to say, well, we don't use this, we use that. But Israelis are not doing this. They are using whatever to try to experiment their algorithms in order to promote them later. Which, by the way, I don't believe in this. By the way, I'm AI person, and I believe their AI is bullshit, because they are trying to promote it, but it's not predicting correct things. They are just killing civilians. But, well, I forget the question. I didn't answer the question, so I commented on this. How Palestinians are responding to this? Unfortunately, we have no force. No, we have nothing to fight it back. We are just trying to use social media also for advocacy. We have some human rights organizations are also trying to give awareness about this. So guys, we need your help. Here we are, there's something called shadow banning even. Whatever I write in social media, you don't see it, because it's called shadow banning. So they are banning our posts. So yeah. So we are not doing anything basically.
Thank you, Mustafa. That's definitely a room for collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good statement on the state of things at the Palestinian end. Unfortunately, AI has been used the way it's been used in this genocide.
Yeah. But I just want to add one more thing. I don't know if you want to allow the audience to participate, but there are a couple of questions about, is there any Israeli collaboration? Is there any collaboration, academic collaboration, research collaboration with Israeli universities or Israeli academics? No, there isn't, because there are some comments about, is there any, and I will be shocked if there's any. So according to the BDS, we are in complete a boycott of any collaboration with Israeli academics and Israeli institutions. Why? Because there's a role of the Israeli universities in this genocide. Because there's a role of Israeli university of not giving any spaces for Palestinian human rights or liberation. So yes, there is full boycott. It's not against individuals per se. It is against the institutions that they are also helping in testing the military, the equipment of killing, the labs that they have inside the Israeli universities funded by Europe and the US to be tested by students and professors to kill our own people. So this is why a boycott is much needed, and this is why we are in full boycott of the Israeli institutions, academic institutions.
Thank you, Amal. And thank you, Mustafa. I'll go maybe follow up a question, Amal, on the role of UNRWA in higher education. Can you comment on that? Has UNRWA been contributing to higher education? I mean, before the war, during the war, now that, most of the
as many international organizations, their role will become vivid after a catastrophe. So the UNRWA role was vivid after the Nakba. Because you have to wash your crime by the aid of, this is my opinion, I mean, this is what we have been witnessing in Gaza as well. What is the role of international organizations, of human rights, of children, of whatsoever regarding what's happening in Gaza? People are just like starving out of no food. Babies don't have any milk formula to drink. So if I speak about UNRWA as an international organization back in time, UNRWA helped to open schools for refugees, for Palestinian refugees, number one, displaced outside Palestine, and number two, the Palestinians who have been internally displaced, because there are some Palestinians in the Nakba who has been displaced internally from one Palestinian city to the other, or to other Palestinian campuses inside Palestine, because we do have also Palestinian campuses like Jalazon, for example, is in near Ramallah in Palestine. So this was the role in education of opening schools and, you know, funding them in terms of the infrastructure and the wage of the educators. And this is exactly what I'm aware of, not more.
Thank you, Amal. I guess there's a very important question coming from multiple attendees, that is there a way that we create a network around which we can collaborate? I mean, that is, how is it that we move from here? Can we make an action plan, in a sense, after this event? I mean, we know that there are people who are working, have access to resources. You guys are under occupation. If not, I don't know, genocide in Gaza, and you guys are not under better conditions. I mean, it's vicious either way. So is there ways that we can, you know, build on this event to connect people from this part of the world to you guys, and contribute to things that are becoming more and more necessary and essential?
Dr. Mustafa, can you go ahead?
Well, so how to move? So first of all, please don't wait us to initiate some movements, because we are so busy. We are so not only busy, but
Traumatized, yeah.
Yeah. So please, we count on you guys. So everyone is listening to us. Please start initiative. So we need help in many ways. So, for example, documenting a genocide. Any of you can do this. You can start actually. You can start doing this. So to document, to crawl the web, to archive, because you know things will be moved out. I'm just giving ideas, by the way. Things will be removed after a while. So, or maybe already removed. So why not to collect and archive them? Why not to guide us on, or you guide us on something? So, for example, watching international media, doing, for example, start any initiative. I mean, in Tunisia, there is an initiative called جامعيون من أجل فلسطين. We also have some initiatives. Maybe it's not the correct time to announce them, but we count on that because you as academics, you are so innovative, you are activists. So please start your initiatives within your community, within your discipline. And when you see an initiative, please join, just to at least to give support and so on. So practically speaking, I mean, among the issues I listed, showed to you, we have also the Palestinian universities in West Bank are trying to help. So if you can also help, for example, we have one at Birzeit University called Rebuilding Hope. There is also at other universities, there are some other initiatives if you can give them support. By the way, Scientists for Palestine and organizing this webinar is one of the activities that we need. So we need more and more and more. So we need many ideas. So we will not just be stuck in few ideas. If you have ideas and you cannot do them, by the way, then please tell us. Maybe we can forward it to people who might be interested to follow up on them. Not only academics, but for example, if you heard about Tech for Palestine, they are doing good job. They are collecting data, organizing many things. And by the way, I also want to mention one thing is Wikipedia. Are you writing on Wikipedia? By the way, it's more important than writing on social media. Wikipedia, if you start as academics, it is so easy for you to write. So please do. So there are many ideas to. We don't want to be stuck in one of them.
Yeah, I mean, one obvious thing to do is we have the email list of all the attendees. We can follow up with emails. Everyone would have access to everyone's email in a sense if we get people's consent, I guess. We can share emails together, and I think part of the suggestions would be like online trainings. These are things that have been in the suggestions in the list. We're definitely more than happy to get your students, Dr. Jarrar, to all sorts of machine learning, computing. I'm a computational physicist myself, and I do things at the borderline of machine learning, also and data-driven modeling. And also my focus is complex networks, so that's my
Very
field of
interesting.
studies.
But
So
by
I
the way,
mean,
there is somebody just share the link called to how to get involved and to subscribe to the mailing list of Scientists for Palestine.
yeah, I mean,
So
maybe
please
we
do.
can, one good thing to do is to keep all the comments as well, and if we're gonna upload it on YouTube, we can, keep the comments for the records. They redirect you to all the very useful links that were shared by the attendees. We're definitely more than happy to start collaborating on training between AUB and Birzeit University. Definitely more on getting you guys to speak to our community and beyond. I mean, use our platform as a platform for a voice for Palestine in a sense. And I don't know, so the recording, I guess, will be available on YouTube. That's going to be posted by either the Physics Student Society or Scientists for Palestine. I guess it will have the same title as the today's event.
Yeah, and there's a call as well to engage and keep the social science and the humanities in the loop. I know that you are more specialized of science, but yeah, maybe we can enlarge. Now the research is speaking about multidisciplinary research. I mean, in Gaza, you can't understand what's happening in terms of medicine without understanding the politics and the genocide happening. And all of the science topics that's happening in Gaza as Palestine without understanding it from a political, social kind of perspective. I don't know, Sarah, but yeah, I think we need, because Dr. Mustafa is based in his specialization, me as well, but maybe a larger call to network, not a lecture, not to provide anything, just like to network. So just let people in a same virtual room, and then it could be split into different rooms, and just people, they will know each other, they will know their research interest if they want to collaborate. And I think after that, they will, share their emails, and things will keep on going with these research. And this is exactly how our research projects usually start, just like you have some similarities and similar passion for the research, and then you keep on going. So if you're willing to make this bigger, we can help you to be in touch with other Palestinian scholars and researchers from different disciplines who are willing to collaborate, to network if they need some database that they can't access. Yeah, this is possible.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. The networking thing is a first step, I guess, to establishing these connections. I guess this first event, I hope in a series of events, was just to kind of establish the connection, get people to know what's happening on the other side. And beyond that, I guess, as you said, Amal, breaking into groups, maybe we can start themes and have people join multiple rooms. And I mean, the interdisciplinarity is also something that we shouldn't be neglecting. I come from physics, but I do a lot of social network analysis. So, I mean, it's not that we're totally broken into compartments. It's good to have, us give like these very short intro of what we do, and maybe break into groups. That's something that we can maybe discuss with the Physics Student Society and Scientists for Palestine on a follow-up on this call. I guess that's becoming very, very essential. I don't know if we can keep the chat. I'm asking people from the Physics Student Society if we can keep the whole history of the chat, so that we even follow up with discussions. That we're definitely not going to be able to answer all the comments and questions, but because I wouldn't be doing right to everyone if I say I did. But yeah, Scientists for Palestine are confirming that we can. So maybe we can just upload the whole thing with the YouTube link once we add it. And then people can reach out and connect. That would be still a way to get people to know who said what and who linked us to what. Maybe there are, all sorts of support messages that the University of Coronia is rallying on a Wednesday to denounce the genocide. There's also people from Spain, academics from Spain are also in total support in the BDS movement. So, I mean, there's a lot of words of support in the chat. Definitely, this is not going to do right to the cause, what's happening. It's just a first step into establishing connection. And moving forward, I guess networking is essential. Identifying specific needs is definitely becoming essential. So I think we'll have a follow-up call with breakup rooms, identify the main collaborators and move forward. And I think that's, if anything, this call had served is pretty much setting the stage for what's to come. I guess in terms of time, I see there's still questions coming in the chat. I don't know.
I just want to say, Sarah, in comparison to the catastrophe happening in Gaza, each and every act that we do, we just like feel that it's a little bit small. I just want to tell some of the people who just like comment. Even I live in the West Bank, I still feel myself kind of privileged because I still have my legs, or I still have my babies, or I still have my home. So I totally, as Palestinian, and also I will saying the word of Dr. Mustafa, that we are stressed on the idea of sharing everything you can share. Speak with a friend, share what you want to share on social media, bring a paper to your students, go to a demonstration, just like, raise the flag, keep on going. All of this, although it might sound small, but it will collectively and continuously shifting the narrative, because we can see that the narrative now is shifted. I mean, all over the world now we hear the word of Israeli colonization, apartheid in Israel, clearly as it sounds. It wasn't before. So things are changing. I know we can't call for a ceasefire now, and we can't just like stop the genocide. Hopefully it will, but all of this definitely, surely will help. So please keep on going with what you're doing, and just keep on going. All of this worth.
Thank you, Amal. Thank you, Mustafa. I guess we're getting close to wrapping up in terms of time. I want to thank you both for giving us all these insights and all these leads into how to contribute. We definitely want to salute you. Allah yaqwikum. Just like this is something that comes from the heart. I mean, Palestine has been the qadiyya, the cause for humanity, and I guess it's proving on and on that it can revive and get us all awakened and be more in touch with our humanity. And you have not done less than that over the past, maybe since the 48s and on. It's not only about this last unraveling genocide. So I just want to thank you all, those of you who have been attending, Professor Jarrar, Professor Nazzal, and all the people who have put this together. And we hope that this is just the start of our collaboration and for us to move things forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we stay in contact with
Inshallah.
all of you.
Hopefully. Thank you.